Hey guys, welcome to another Game Explain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Sigurds, and this time we're joined by Tom Arnold, Ash Paulson, and Derek Binder to discuss our impressions of Day 2 at E3. So, let's get started. Alright guys, so, I actually don't know if we played that many games, but we played more than we did yesterday at least.
I know I did.
Yeah. But we also had some new announcements from Nintendo today as well, including finding out what the new IP was, seeing some gameplay of some previously unannounced games for the most part, like the new Mario Party game. And then we also got to play some third-party games, Sony games, Microsoft games, just in general. So
how dare you talk about Nintendo's announcements and not mention Rhythm Heaven Megamix?
I know. Well, I knew you'd pick up the slack.
That was all what Day 2 is about. Nothing else matters.
You've already been playing it.
I've already played it for the Game & Watch we just recorded. I'm going to go buy it for my own 3DS. I can't believe I love those surprise releases. It's out. It's like, what?
Yeah. So are you going to be disappointed when Mother 3 is finally announced because we knew about it going in?
No, because we still don't even know if it's happening.
That's true, we don't.
I think our last chance, our last hope for E3 release is tomorrow at Virtual Console release time, the normal. If not, it's going to be sometime this year, maybe, or it's just not happening.
I'm sticking with my direct predicament, or prediction.
So you think it's still happening?
I think it fall direct. I think it's still happening.
Okay.
Yeah, for now. If it doesn't happen by the end of the year, then I'm
out.
Yeah,
I'm out
exactly.
too.
I'm out.
This really does feel like the last year for it.
It does. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I got out of the press room, but I was still in there for a good chunk of the day.
I think we all were.
Yeah.
I mean, with the direct or the Treehouse, I keep calling them directs.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing. The Treehouse kept us locked in just to see if they were announcing anything major or new and keeping up on all of that.
Yeah.
But I guess we should start off with that real quick. Since we all, I think, kept up to some degree on what Nintendo announced today and showed off.
I mean, they started off with Pokémon Go, and
oh my god, I honestly could not care less about that game at this point.
Yeah.
It's looking really rough.
Yeah.
Like, and not even rough, it just looks bad. Plain, I mean, it looks just, it's not.
Yeah, and you could see, like, Jay Witz and I forget the other guy that was on there with him, but another big Pokemon guy. I think he does competitions and whatnot. I don't know if they're fully invested in it either, because their questions were specifically how to improve the game. Like, I can only find a certain section of Pokemon in my area. This is a problem. There's only around 50 Pokemon of the original 150 that I can actually catch.
Yeah.
This is an issue, and the whole fact that the Pokemon Go Plus is $35
also
for a light.
That is ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, that is silly.
That's absurd.
Its name is so dumb. I totally forgot what it was called. So when they kept talking about Pokemon Plus, I'm like, I was only half listening, and I'm like, wait, is this like a newer version of Pokemon Go they've announced that's coming out before Pokemon Go? What?
And that's only $5 less than what Pokemon Sun and Moon's going to cost for a light.
You're right.
Like, what are they thinking?
Because the other thing is like, you're catching Pokemon and don't have to look at your phone. You can enjoy your walk, but you don't know what you're catching.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
Be catching disease.
Oh no, the Pokerus. Except that's a good thing.
Yeah.
This game is just not doing anything for me. The animation seems so basic. I mean, it seems like one of those things like do on your own and maybe play for a week and then forget about, because again, they're only starting with the 150. They're going to add more. They're going to add Pokemon training in, but it seems like the initial release is going to be so bare bones. I don't know if people are going to be able to stay interested.
Well, I don't think the number of Pokemon's a problem. I mean, 150, I think it's ample for what they're doing right now, at least. It just is everything else that surrounds those Pokemon.
I think the problem is the execution. I mean, the game just looks janky.
That's
it looks like it almost is going to like break your phone. And actually, when I was talking about it on Twitter, a lot of people were like, if Pokemon fans were like, no, this is stupid, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
And people who were in the beta test were like, I play it and it overheats my phone. And I have to stop playing it. It's like, it just looks like it's not ready at all.
It does seem like, even though Nintendo themselves isn't developing this, it's Niantic?
Yeah, Neon.
It does seem like Nintendo hasn't fully grasped how to make smartphone games yet. Like, Miitomo doesn't run that well. It takes forever to load. Now Pokemon Go looks super janky, and which is kind of to be expected given that the fact they're using like augmented reality. At the same time, why are you using augmented reality if you can't make it work yet?
True. To be fair though, I hesitate to even like mention Miitomo in the same breath as Pokemon Go, because Miitomo,
it does run. It runs well.
It's super polished, even though it's slow to load. It is really polished, I would say.
I mean, okay, if you ignore the load times, sure, but I can't divorce that from the load times.
I understand. Yeah. But I would still say Miitomo is a much more solid experience.
I'd agree with that. From what we've seen, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think any issues can be placed squarely on the Niantic on this one. Even though they have a lot of it, the hands-on with Nintendo in the form of Miyamoto, and have Game Freak and Pokemon Company informing on this, the end product is still just not that impressive. And I mean, that's not guaranteeing quality. We still have Pokemon Dash, which is a terrible game on the DS. So that's. Wait.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of bad Pokemon games.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
true.
There's just because they put their stamp on it doesn't mean you're gonna have a quality Pokemon game.
Is the developer backed by Google on this, or
They're owned by Google, I believe, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, I guess with Google's backing, they can search where to go.
And what's funny too is I find it ironic that the Pokemon Company is known for being so over controlling of their IP to the point where they wouldn't even let Nintendo use the Pokemon sounds for the costumes in Mario Maker, and yet they'll allow a game like Pokemon Go to be released and shown off, and it's like, wait a minute.
I mean, to be fair, the game's not out yet.
Yeah.
We don't even know when it's actually coming out yet, do we?
Well, kind of, because we know that Pokemon Go Plus is coming out in late July, and that thing is useless without the game.
But it's also pretty useless with the game.
Yeah.
So
the thing is like they made it seem like it was that was a oops, Miyamoto slipped up. But then you get the press release and it says late July.
Oh, no, I mean, it was obvious, like, that question is so planted. Like, there's no way Jay Witz is going to go off by himself and ask, hey, when's this game coming out on a live stream where he was invited by Nintendo? It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
This isn't CNN. We got, well, actually, CNN's not a great example these days, but you know what I mean. It's not a hard-hitting journalistic endeavor here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Right now, it's not looking promising.
Not at all.
I mean, especially if it's coming out late July. That feels too early.
Yeah.
It feels like it's not ready at all.
Maybe that's why they had to open with it. Like, okay, we got everyone watching now before everyone tunes out later in the day. So we'll hit them with the Pokemon Go coverage. Even though it wasn't that exciting. Even the coverage itself wasn't that exciting. It was
I mean, you really have to be drinking the Pokemon Kool-Aid to want to go buy a Pokemon Go Plus. Like, you really have to be like part of the faithful. That should, I mean, again, so many of the hardcore Pokemon fans I was talking to, like, not in a million years would I buy that. So
yeah. It's just, it was a boring presentation because it was set up as a Q&A and it's just sort of like, it was press talk.
It wasn't the best way to open things, I don't think.
No.
But maybe it's wanted to get out of the way, too.
It was.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying,
Yeah.
exactly. They get through it and move on with their day. So, and speaking of which, they had some other announcements. They showed off the brand new IP that they teased yesterday.
Yeah.
And
Ever Oasis.
Oasis,
Yeah.
which made by X. Is it X Square Enix? Because he worked on Final Fantasy.
He worked on 1 through 3. He worked on Final Fantasy 11, and he also worked on the Mana series. So he's got quite a
every
pedigree.
Mana series. Everybody loves. I mean, I can kind of see the Mana connection based off Ever Oasis, but the strange thing is, like, with those 3 players, it's like, there has to be multiplayer as part of this. As part of this game, because you have 3 different characters and you can switch between them, which I've never played Secret of Mana, but I think that's how it works.
And it has like 3-player multiplayer as
exactly.
well. Yeah.
So I can totally see them eventually unveiling a
Totem
multiplayer
mechanic.
mode. Oh my god, just what we need.
a multi-tap adapter.
Yeah, totally.
The
thing is, I didn't actually get to watch too much footage of it, so I didn't either. I didn't get to see exactly how it played when they showed it off during the Treehouse segment. Just that initial trailer, and I was like, looks fine. It has a cute style. It's a new IP, which is always good. They didn't mention anything about planning on what time they're going to release it, right?
I don't think they did. As far as I wasn't watching the whole stream.
Yeah.
I had an appointment during then, so I missed most of the Ever Oasis stuff. But I don't think they mentioned a release period.
That's part of the irony of covering E3 is you actually miss a lot of it. Just by virtue of being at it.
People at home see a lot more than we do.
It's true, actually, because you have more control over what you're seeing versus what you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but do you think it went over better than Codename Steam? I think it did, just because because there wasn't that built-in expectation that Codename Steam had.
Because the Codename Steam problem was they didn't announce. I literally said they should have said it was a new IP. They did that in this case, which is a really good idea. So it limits those expectations to some degree. So they arguably learned.
I was going to say with Codename Steam too. By them working on that game, weren't people pissed off that it was stopping them from developing another game, basically?
Oh yeah, they wanted them to be working on Fire Emblem instead or something like that, which they were. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Codename Steam. I feel like Oasis maybe has a little more work to do to convince people, but I don't think it's nearly. I don't think the reception was negative. I think it was just like, okay, I want to see more of this. Not quite sure, but it wasn't overtly negative.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I could see myself interested in this, but you need to give it a little bit more time, which is fair.
Yeah, it wasn't the color splash reception.
No, it wasn't. That was something.
Well, do we want to? Let's go. I guess work game to game on till we get the color splash. Unless you want to get right to color.
I mean, I don't think we have to go chronologically here.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, next
up would have been Mario Party, so it's either Mario Party or color splash.
I mean, it's all downhill either way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well. You guys are better equipped to talk about Color Splash because all I really saw was that initial trailer. You were the ones that took part in the interview.
So that was one of the surprises we were talking about, by the way,
Correct.
was that we actually did play. We did an interview about and played Paper Mario Color Splash on day one. We couldn't talk about it until today.
Right.
So now you guys know already kind of how that was received and what we saw and played. Actually, Andre, you were the one who played it specifically.
I did.
And then it's Sticker Star. It's improved, I would say.
Yeah.
But it is not the Paper Mario game that we want or the one we deserve.
Oh, wow.
Ouch.
Yeah. How entitled of you, Ash.
I kid. But it's not the one we want, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I
agree with you. And you were still totally right. Anyway. It's such a weird game. I mean, ultimately, like, I don't hate it yet. I need to play more of it. I mean, I have to be fair. Like, I didn't hate Sticker Star for being different. I hate it for being a bad game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is a bad game yet. I do know it's not the Paper Mario I've been wanting since Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
That in of itself doesn't mean this is a bad game. And what I played actually wasn't terrible. Like it was simple. It did have some fun. Like I didn't mind painting in the parts in the ground. It gives it an instant gratification of doing so. But I only played through one level, which you might have seen briefly before we pulled the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like there does seem to be a little bit more to it than Sticker Star thing. The combat seems like it's a little more interesting with the card-based mechanic and how it does factor into the paint usage. So I just need to see more of it. But
yeah.
I mean, it's so weird. It's the Federation Force problem where it might be a good game, even if I haven't liked what I've played of it so far. In that case, it's just that it's not the game people wanted or expected at this point in that series. So that's a problem it runs up against.
And I think the issue that I think it hurts even more because when you see the visuals, it looks so.
It looks amazing.
It really does.
To be completely fair, that game looks amazing. Like it's the best looking Paper Mario yet.
Yeah.
Oh, easily.
Especially like the opening, it looks freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's got some excellent music too.
It does.
I was really, really feeling the music.
Well, it's like I want to like that game and I want to play it, but we'll see if the gameplay is what we'll see. Like it's so good looking.
I mean, it's been interesting going my way through the Paper Mario series as part of those streams. Because I started with Super Paper Mario. That was the first Paper Mario game I ever... Well, I played a little bit of Thousand Year Door, but I never actually finished it, obviously. And then I went to Super Paper Mario when it came out on Wii because everybody was hyping up Thousand Year Door, and that was... I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fine game. And then I hear about Sticker Star, and it's just bad, and just not.
I feel like there's a chance that you might be more receptive to Sticker Star just because your beginning with the Paper Mario series wasn't necessarily as
I'm
an
not
RPG.
fully ingrained on that, but the thing is, I get it. I totally get the why people are upset because here's the big issue, and it's the issue that's definitely applied to Paper Jam as well. The Toads are so boring.
I mean, it's weird because I actually have gone from really loving the Toads as NPCs, especially as they appear in Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi. They're funny, and they're kind of cheeky. They're they have attitudes. They're fun, but now they're too much. Like they've been overused, and I feel like they've overstayed their welcome.
Well, the problem is the designs.
It's the same design. There are no designs.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
they're distinct designs. It's all just the same Toad.
Yeah.
Which is something that didn't even happen in Thousand Year Door because even though they had multiple Toads, they all had like different hairstyles or different outfits, or most of them did. A lot of them did. The interesting thing though is like despite that, I forget her name, the developer we interviewed about the game.
Tabata.
Thank you. She mentioned how the Toads do have distinct personalities. Like they're still written with the idea of them all being distinct characters, so that doesn't come through visually. Which makes it also difficult to track which Toad is which.
Yeah.
So.
I still think they should use your quote as a pull quote for like the inevitable reviews trailer. Like, I don't hate it yet. I think that's the perfect like on the back of the box. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's I am still not. I want to say cautiously optimistic because now we know more about what it is. I'm still looking forward to it because I didn't hate Sticker Star like you did. I didn't love it. I thought it was just okay. But given that this seems to be a considerably improved version of what that game was, I think I'm going to end up like just casually enjoying it. I don't think it's going to be memorable at all, but I think I'll like it. I kind of feel like I'm not. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm looking forward to it enough.
I mean, that's the thing. I actually honestly don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it does look like it's fixing some of Sticker Star's problems, which is great. And one of the game's biggest problems for me was, I mean, we can go on about the lack of story, the lack of compelling characters. Ultimately, for me, like I've always been about the gameplay. I thought it was god awful in that game, and it does seem like it might be better this time around. So we'll see when the game actually comes out. I can't comment yet. I did enjoy the one level I played, and the art style is amazing. So. We'll see what happens.
I think the make or break element for me is going to be the thing cards. I think as long as the boss battles are reworked and improved so that thing cards are just really powerful attacks and not required items that you need that you would never otherwise guess that you need to beat the boss, that'll be okay with me. But like the way Sticker Star did it, where you had to like use these random thing cards to hopefully figure out how to beat the boss, otherwise it's impossible. That was horrible. I
mean, that's a great point. One of the problems with Sticker Star was the battles in general, whether it was the normal battles not giving you any reason to actually fight them, or the bosses being dependent on those thing stickers. So they fixed that this time around. That could fix a huge problem with the game. And also I have to give the game credit. The fact that the fan thing card references 2001: A Space Odyssey automatically huge points in my book. So that's a huge step up. So some good stuff there.
It's interesting the way this whole game is timed and just the fact that it even exists in the way it does. It's just weird.
It is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say the biggest takeaway, if you haven't watched our interview yet, go watch it. But the biggest takeaway from that is the fact that how they internally view these two series now. So they told us that they personally view the Mario and Luigi series as the Mario RPG series.
Right.
That's what it's meant for. That's why it exists. Whereas now with Paper Mario, they're like, well, we don't need two RPG series, so we're going to use Paper Mario now for these weird, experimental, action-y, weird things. And that's why we've been seeing the games we have from them.
And extrapolating from that, I guess we can write off all chance of ever getting a Mario RPG 2.
I think so, and I kind of think we can write off any chance of ever getting another Paper Mario RPG.
I know.
I kind of think, I feel like there's an outside chance that an HD remaster of Thousand Year Door could happen someday. I don't think they've written it off. I don't think we're going to see another RPG-style Paper Mario.
I mean, so not until the Mario and Luigi game stops selling, at least. Then maybe they'll bring Paper Mario out again.
True.
But at that point, people might not remember the series for what it was.
Well, from a gameplay perspective, I'm going to say I don't envy those people who have to cut every single blade of grass in Zelda, because in Color Splash, when you were trying to fill the white areas with paint, that took maybe 3 or 4 hammer strikes to fill it in instead of just one. And that takes a while, so I don't envy those people.
Yep. Alright, well, moving on. We got another Mario game that was shown off today for the first time. And that was, I can't remember the name.
Mario Party Star Rush.
Star Rush, yeah.
Which, the funny thing is the most notable aspect of that game is the box art.
That's unbelievable. The box art.
So if you've not heard this yet or seen it all, but I highly doubt it, knowing you guys are fans, the box art for Mario Party Star Crush shows the core Mario characters with the typical Mario Party dice and the title. That artwork is taken from a soup can for Mario.
It's like literally it's just Mario, Luigi, Peach, and I think Toad in these generic poses, and it's the same pose, but they photoshopped or they added a die onto Mario's hand, and it's literally the same art. And it's like that tells you everything about how much they think this game matters.
Well, it could have been worse. That soup can could have had an IGN watermark.
That's very true. Yeah, so there is always and it could have been Resident Evil Revelatons. Or Naruto Shippuden. So at least there are no typos on the box art.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't get to watch a whole lot, but from the little I saw, it seems like the main mode is this Toad Scramble, I think
that's what they said in the Treehouse. They said the main mode is Toad Scramble mode. They were they didn't really go into what other modes were in there, if there was a traditional party mode. But my guess would be probably not.
I'm sure it's just like Animal Crossing, how that board game was the primary mode, and so it's weird how you're only playing as Toads. You don't play any as a conventional Mario characters. You can, I guess, enlist them as partners or something.
Yeah, for the boss fights, and
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's bizarre, but it seems like in some ways they are improving it from Mario Party 9 and 10, in that you are no longer riding a car. You do have agency in this game. while still following a similar template in that there are still boss fights along the way. I guess the goal is like those games to get to the end, right? That ends the game when you reach the boss, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's multiple bosses on a board, and it's like the first person who gets to that boss, because you have to land on them exactly. I mean, if one person lands on the boss, everybody fights the boss, but the person who lands on him has a head start in fighting it, and he gets in a little bit of an advantage.
Right, but that ends the game, though, right?
No, the game keeps going if once the boss is defeated.
Oh, okay. Then how do you end the game?
I think you have to find a star. Like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure
The boss
either.
fight does not end it. I know that much.
The main thing for me is, even if the game is great, and it might be fantastic. I don't want to play Mario Party in the 3DS.
That's the thing. It's like I just don't. Yeah, like it's not the kind of game I'd ever want to play on my 3DS.
Yeah.
Like Mario Party is supposed to be a couch multiplayer game, and of course you can have 3 friends and play on 4 3DSs, but it's not the same.
It's not even close. Yeah,
and it's almost like again the idea of buying Mario Party DS on the Wii U. Like, why would you do that? It's really weird, and
it is.
I feel like Nintendo's really lost its way with Mario Party.
They totally have.
They just keep making them. I guess they must sell well enough for them to just never let the series die, but I just feel like they've completely lost their way with it. Like, what are they doing with this franchise anymore? It's
not a clue.
And that said, it doesn't look bad. Like you said, it looks better than 9 and 10 in some ways. I just don't feel like it needs to exist for any reason.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got amiibos out of it.
True. Yeah. Waluigi amiibo.
Waluigi.
Waluigi
amiibo.
Yeah.
Yep. Daisy.
Yeah. And Diddy Kong randomly. It's part of the Mario series now, apparently.
The glow-in-the-dark Boo is pretty awesome, though.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't realize it was glow-in-the-dark.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Boo glows in the dark.
I'm going to have to get that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's good ideas. I mean, what do you guys think of the rest of the Treehouse, though? Because we got, I think, like Dragon Quest VII, we got Yokai Watch 2, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I gotta play a lot of when I get back.
I wasn't able to watch the whole Treehouse because we're covering things or going to appointments or whatever. But I mean, regardless of the individual games, the presentation is still good. I still like what they did with the Treehouse, and just going through these games pretty quickly. Given each one, it's a decent amount of time to showcase what it is.
At least a half hour, I think.
Yeah.
It's been well organized. I feel like it's been on time. It has been late. No technical difficulties. Like, I feel like it's been a well-run stream.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's nice because you do get to see gameplay. That is the key thing the Treehouse streams during E3 have always accomplished, is that you get to see the gameplay for these various games, and that can help people. And I hope Dragon Quest VII convinces a lot of people. Amazingly enough, it's coming out in September, which is a jam-packed month this year.
Yes, it is.
Jeez, between Final Fantasy 15, Shantae, Dragon Quest, and I swear there's more, but September is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
I wish Nintendo were better about disclosing the schedule of the Treehouse.
I do too.
Before,
there was no way to know when
there wasn't.
The game you cared about was going to come on. Basically.
So in some ways, it felt almost like an 8-hour long press conference.
Yeah. Because you guys got to stay tuned to see if
and that's probably why they do it. That way you have to see all these games.
Yeah.
Or whenever you tune in. I don't imagine most people are staying there for 8 hours watching the entire thing.
God, no.
But I'm sure surprising amount of people are still.
Some people.
But yeah.
And then they ended things with my favorite surprise of the show, which
right.
was Rhythm Heaven.
And that's awesome. That's the best kind of surprise. Like when they're like, "Hey, here's the thing coming. Oh, it's out now. You can go play it right now."
The only thing I'm slightly bugged by is just because this series needs all the help it can get anyway. Like, it's already having trouble selling, and I feel like no marketing, no hype whatsoever.
Yeah.
But at least there's a free demo, so that might entice people to at least try it out and check it out for themselves.
Yeah.
So but I am happy it's out. So
no reviews either, because we certainly didn't get any early copies for it or anything.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there will be the usual stable of reviews, but it's weird how it's not going to be the.
They are treating it like just purely an eShop game.
Yeah. So
which I guess it is, but that is how they're treating it. So
yeah. So I don't know if that's. It's nice to have that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Nice surprise for the fans, but it really does seem to be just focused on those fans.
Well, and I think that's how they had to do it. Let's be honest. I think Rhythm Heaven Fever sold something like 13,000 copies. It was really bad. It was terrible. Something like that.
I was gonna say
it honestly might be a little more than that, but it was it sold terribly. So, honestly, I think Nintendo of America giving us the game at all is them throwing fans a bone. I mean, Europe didn't get it today, and the European fans don't even know if they're going to get it. So, even if it's not ideal, I appreciate that they brought it to us at all.
Yeah.
That's so surprising how low it was, considering how many people or how many sites were talking about it at the time.
And there's a great community around it.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. So.
Well, I hope you European fans get it as well. I'd feel really bad for you guys if you didn't.
Yep. But I think that's it for the Treehouse.
Really. Yeah. Mostly.
It's stuff that we personally care about.
Yeah, I mean, there was Zelda too, but
I didn't actually watch it. And
I didn't really watch it either. So
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they covered Zelda today.
They did bring it back for I think
okay.
near the end.
Oh, like after Rhythm Heaven.
Exactly. Maybe around then. Yeah.
Clearly, we don't care about that one.
No. So, let's go and move on to the games we played ourselves, I guess.
Yeah.
So, what stood out to you today that you played?
Well, despite getting my freedom, by the way, I love the fans that got behind me actually getting out of the press room today, because I did work on that 10 things you might have missed from Pokemon Sun and Moon's demonstration. I wanted to get that done. That was tough to manage during the E3 setting, but I got it done. Got out of the press room and checked out the show floor, and beyond even the games. And I do want to mention this. The show floor is oddly just empty.
South Hall, you mean?
South Hall.
Yeah.
West Hall feels the same to me.
West Hall feels kind of the same, but South Hall, you still have your staples. You got your Capcom, you got your 2K, you have WB a bit, you have Square Enix, of course, but then you're missing Activision, you're missing
Konami.
Yeah.
Well, and even just a few years ago, that used to be where Microsoft was stationed too. Then they moved over to West Hall alongside Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah.
And so now there's no major first party or no major platform holder over in South Hall. So
and even the big three booths, even though they are technically as big as previous years, they feel somehow smaller and less populated in a way. Sony and Xbox do, not just Nintendo.
What would make you?
It's weird. It's in a pervasive way, because they still have plenty of games playable, but they don't feel. I don't know. I guess maybe it's the booth layouts. They don't feel as expansive.
I think it is part of the booth layout. It's hard getting around Microsoft's booth, actually.
It's all diagonals this year.
It's weird,
It's kind of deceiving compared to what it looked like before. And is this a line? And the lines kind of wrap a little bit. They're doing, instead of a line behind each TV, shared lines for each exhibit.
Yeah, you have to crowd in there and just try to get the game you're interested in.
Yeah, I think this is going to be remembered as a year for E3 where lines were an especially bad problem. As you were telling me that the line for Zelda closed 15 minutes after E3 opened today.
That's what I heard, and it's ridiculous. And we posted a video of that this morning of that line,
showing the line
and from what I heard, which makes complete sense, if you're at the end of that line, that's an 8-hour line you're waiting in.
Yeah,
that's why they shut it down.
Yeah, you're devoting a whole day of E3 to one game.
For a 35-minute demo in total.
Yeah,
split in half basically. It's very weird.
And even Horizon Zero Dawn, which I would love to play, I heard that's taking 3 hours to get through.
Yeah,
and it's just not okay when you have so little time to work with.
I think what it is because there's less companies that we still have the same amount of people and they're crowding to these games, so you have longer lines.
Yeah,
and that's an issue, but there's still some displays that are really cool to look at. 2K's Mafia 3 setup is pretty cool. They actually had I think it was a jazz band playing at the time, and that was pretty cool. And Capcom's booth has it set up for Justice.
No,
Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
Spirit of Justice. That's how it got me confused. Where you can it's really actually really cool. Where the units are on either side, the courtroom, with the witness stand at the back, and you could take a picture as if you're
next
the
to
witness.
a Phoenix standee.
Yeah. Right. So it's cool setups like that. Plus, they have the Resident Evil Z demo set up as if you're going into the house from the demo. It all looks pretty cool. They still have that wow factor that a lot of them do, and so of course Square Enix has their trailer movie theater going
Actually,
on.
I want to make special mention of Square Enix's booth this year. They were really on point this year. I feel like they brought more titles than ever. Their lighting is really nice. There's a lot of color going on. Their booth is really well laid out, and it just feels like they were having a strong year. Square Enix has had a few uneven years in the last, I'd say, 5 years, and they've been okay, but I feel like they've been stumbling a little bit.
Right.
But I feel like they feel confident this year. I feel like they are a strong Square Enix this year, and their booth reflected that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. They had a lot of different games. They had, I think 6 units of Kingdom Hearts 2.8 alone.
Yeah.
They had many units of Final Fantasy 15, both at their booth and I saw some at Microsoft.
Yeah, they did.
And then they had a couple of other games dedicated to some of their other titles. I mean, you had it spread out. Even Dragon Quest Builders, which
I
haven't checked that out at all, but it's Minecraft-esque, and I'm not Minecraft inclined, so yeah.
I was honestly surprised to see Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age playable. I didn't think that game was nearly... I mean, they just revealed it for the first time. I figured it wasn't, near enough along in development to be shown off into playable form, but it is, and yeah, they really had a strong lineup this year.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, now we can talk about the games. Like, I just thought it was interesting to, note how different it does feel.
They really need to get Disney in there to handle line management and get like some fast passes.
Yeah, they should
give you a 50-minute window to return during or something.
You just have Disneyland in the mind now because it's almost easy.
I think that's called being media and scheduling an appointment.
Yeah,
that's true. Much. I actually do feel bad anyone who doesn't have a media badge because they do have to stand in all those lines.
You do. And even when you do have a media badge, sometimes you have to. It's like sometimes you don't always get the appointments that you're supposed to get. So it's like, and even if I've had appointments at other places today, and even though I had a media badge, they were like, "Can you please just wait? And we'll try to get you in as soon as you can."
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just because there's so many people and only so many demo units. So yeah.
All I know, the best thing I ever found at a game show is a Tokyo Game Show. The public days are insane, but I found the 2 business days before I got in.
I've heard that.
And it's like, I can see the ground. There's like nobody here.
I wrote off TGS on my first day there. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I cannot. There's so many people.
I've heard
so
it's
many
pretty
lines.
rough.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They close the lines like they did in Zelda. Like if it's too busy, you can come back later. But if it's gonna overflow into the hallway, it's like, nope, close.
I think the only game I was able to get onto that didn't have a line at all was Monkey Ball for the balance board in the Euro.
Wow, what a shock!
I know exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
Yep. All right. So what all did we play, guys? Or what stood out to you that you played?
Well, the only 2 games I actually got to play were Cuphead and Shantae. Both 2D games, though. I could imagine that.
Yeah.
Cuphead is still Cuphead. That's the best way I can put it. I mean, it's still...
But with platforming now.
Yes. I did try out the platforming levels. The thing is, the game is still as hard as ever. Mm-hmm. It is a stiff challenge, but I feel like I have noticed some changes that I don't remember being in there last year.
Was it playable last year?
Yes.
Yeah, it was playable. Just bosses.
Yeah, bosses, which was what it was supposed to be initially, just boss battles, and now you have some platforming areas. And the game's hard. The game would just kick your butt, and I got footage of it, but it's really short because the people I recorded playing just died within 3 minutes. It was done.
It's a tough game.
It's something I didn't notice that it seems to discourage people too, at least at E3.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people die, well, including myself even. Die a couple times, like, all right, I'm good, I'll go check out the next game.
And I can totally see that, but when Ash and I were playing, we that addictive quality of a hard game that did kick in.
Old school.
Because one of the things they did add to this that I don't remember that I was going to mention was they actually have a sort of goal line on the retry screen. So you can see how far you got through the platforming level, the boss battle, and see just how close you were.
Which is a total dick move. Yeah. Because if you see it and you're like, oh, that close?
Yeah, exactly. And they do it individually too, like player 1 died here, player 3 died here. The biggest issue I actually had with the game is that there was no control board, like showing you what different buttons could do.
Sure, there weren't.
Because there was a lot of different moves that you could do in that game, both defensively and offensively, and I need those moves.
Yeah, they had them last year, but I remember I played Below 2 at Xbox's booth, and I had to go to the menu, and it's one of those with every single button did something. It's like, oh great, I'm going to totally memorize this.
Yeah.
With Cuphead, the platforming kind of felt a bit slow at times, but I just imagined it as Contra in Cuphead skin. So
well, that's what I was going to.
Basically it.
I was going to address the platforming levels. So it's not ready to be shown off. They should not have shown it off. Like the frame rate, and it was so choppy that it affected the gameplay. Like it's just not ready. And I'm surprised they went forward with showing it off. I know they want people to know it has platforming, that it isn't just boss battles, but it was almost unplayable at points.
I wouldn't say it's unplayable, but it definitely was jarring.
Well, almost. Like, it just... There were jumps that I missed because it's just... There's so many frame skips. I'm like, you can't do that with a platformer.
Well, see, I blamed it more on the difficulty just in general.
I had played harder games that I had less trouble with, I think.
I think one of the problems I ran into, actually, with that was just that the screen scrolling felt a bit off to me. I felt like...
It did,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Because, at least in 2-player, because it's held back by the second person not keeping right with you. I was never able to see far enough ahead.
Yeah.
I felt like.
Yeah, and you have to go so slow in that because enemies are constantly coming, and the way their attacks can come at you can be a little unpredictable.
Well, there's a blue blob that
Never dies.
But yeah, he comes back to life when you're going by. That got me a couple times. And also when both players are shooting and you're in the other player's bullets, good luck trying to see
That's
everything.
the thing is I feel like, I don't know, there's some hard to mention, I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's some quality that makes the game feel harder and maybe like less obvious than it should be. I don't know, like I saw myself getting hit by things in the boss level where you're flying around, but because I couldn't see the shots easily enough. I feel like they need to do more to make the enemy shots like more obvious. Yeah. It's weird. Like it's a great game and the presentation's on, but there's something about it that just that it frustrates me, and I can't figure out exactly what it is, other than the frame drops. But that's like a thing that we fix. That'll be fixed.
Yeah, the biggest issue I had actually, because I was doing all right dodging stuff most of the time during that boss battle where we were flying around.
Right.
With bosses like that, I don't look at my plane. I look at my bullets and I look at what's coming at me, and I can sort of, based on my constant firing, I know my positioning. The problem is that we're in 2-player, and so I see your bullets too, and I kind of lose track, and that's an issue.
I think it does stuff from the new Super Mario Brothers problem of like, the more players you have working together, the harder it becomes for each individual player to succeed.
It's kind of true.
Yeah.
I mean, you can rescue each other, which is not obvious. Again, I want that control board so I know I can do this stuff, but I didn't realize
I didn't even know you could do it. Yeah.
I kept finding all these like, let me try playing with the buttons and see what happens, or accidentally, like if you do a double jump, you have sort of like a Sonic 3
like a spin attack.
The shield, the insta-shield, that's it. Pop up that would take out the spikes in the platforming level.
Yeah.
So it's like, these are necessary because
But I mean, in terms of the look, though, there's still nothing. There's never been anything else like it in a game.
It looks great.
It really does.
I mean, the animation is beautiful. Like, it really perfectly captures the 1930s style.
And the sound does too.
The
sound is on point.
Actually, except I found the shooting thing, the shooting sound effect a little bit annoying.
Oh,
the
really?
headphones on, that got to me a little bit.
Those are really loud for the show.
Maybe that was it.
They were.
Which makes the frame rate drops all the more obvious in that case, because you want that consistent frame rate to properly reflect the original animation they're going for. So, but again, they'll iron that out.
I'm sure they will. I mean, in a game where presentation's so important, I feel like they will definitely fix that before release.
Well, they spent so much time on it already. Now, what'll be interesting in the final release is that, when I picked up a game like Shovel Knight at first, I just knew right away, I guess you could almost say beautiful controls, or sort of like a Devil May Cry 3 type game where they're excellent. Cuphead, it looks fantastic, but I feel the controls, they don't match up to the visuals.
I agree. Yeah, there's just something about it. Yeah, they don't quite match up. It's hard to put your finger on, though.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That is.
But I'm still looking forward to how it turns out. Like, I don't have an Xbox One, so I don't think I can play it, unfortunately. Yeah. But I am looking forward to seeing how the finished product turns out.
But you don't even have a PC to play it on.
Exactly. Yeah, I can only do the Mac Steam on Mac, and it's not available. So
I think if it does get the polish it needs, I think there's going to be a community that, especially on YouTube, like people love hard games. So seeing them work together and getting those reactions of seeing these crazy bosses and fighting them and trying to beat them, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think this game has a very bright future if they can nail these few issues that we're having.
I think part of the problem is just that, I like that they are adding platforming now, but they base the controls around boss fights. And it's a different thing. It reminded me a little bit of, you take Smash Bros. Mechanics, which work great within the context of the battle, add to a platformer, it doesn't work so well.
Subspace Emissary. Now, we also played Shantae.
Yes.
Yeah, we played Shantae Half-Genie Hero. Oh, man. What a beautiful game.
Oh, gosh. So, that is gorgeous. I mean, we knew it looked gorgeous from that trailer they released. And seeing those boss fights and those big character models and just seeing the animation.
But somehow I was impressed all over again. Somehow it still wowed me.
Playing it in motion and seeing how the gameplay all came together. I never really used the spells too much in the previous Shantae games because the hair works fine.
Yeah.
But I found a lot of use for them. The fireballs did minor damage, but you could hit from far away. The deflective shield that you could get, they had Tinkerbats throwing torches at you, kind of Molotovs at you, and if you had the shield up, it would actually reflect back at them and take them out instantly, which was really cool.
It actually had a utility. It wasn't just like something you could use if you wanted to. Like, it actually was really useful, which I like.
Exactly, and switching between everything was fast. I think that was the big thing everybody was worried about, is that in the previous Shantae games where you could transform, it was a very slow process.
Yeah.
Risky's Revenge kind of quickened it before the previous one, but it was still slow, and a lot of people were worried after going off of Pirate's Curse, which got rid of the transformations in favor of much more of a Metroid feel, where everything was instantaneous, that going back to the transformations would ruin that, and there was nothing to worry about. These transformations are instant. All you have to do is bring up a menu, make a push, quick button press, you're that transformation, and you go back just as quickly. And it plays beautifully.
And even though they're instant, there's still enough screen-filling visual effects that it feels like an event. It feels like powerful. That you're transforming into this new form. Like, music notes fill the screen as she dances. Like, it's a full-screen event, and it feels cool. So, yeah, I love the transformations back. Shantae herself animates amazingly well. Like, even her idle animation is just so full of peppy happiness. It's like the quintessential platformer.
Yeah,
right? And it's awesome.
It's totally pulling from the sprites in the previous games. It's just now you have this art style that's using the DuckTales engine, and it works so well. I mean, there's a little bit of worry that of going from the sprites to this, but no.
I remember even saying I was a little bummed out about that. I was I'm going to miss the pixel animation, and I love pixel animation, but after playing this, I'm all on board with this new art style.
Yeah.
I'm this looks so good. I can't wait for this game.
And you got a release date too, that you don't have to wait much longer, right?
Yeah.
Late September, which is another September game.
That's the thing. With it being a late September game, please don't let this be buried. Yeah. It looks so good. And it deserves to succeed.
And even the Way Forward rep who was talking to us about the game, she was kind of cheekily who cares about Final Fantasy really? I mean, you don't need to play that game. Just play Shantae. Yeah.
I will say, Paul, it was very nice after we finished our playing through it. We were talking to him a bit, and somebody just came up randomly watching somebody else that had picked up the game. And they said, he's like, what's this? And he's like, this looks awesome. He'd never heard about it before. And he just, as soon as he saw the visuals and saw people playing, he was excited for it. And I really hope that happens for a lot more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all I actually got to play. I could talk about other things, but what about you and Tom? What did you get to play?
I didn't play anything.
Yeah. Nice. You touched the controller for Cuphead.
I did play Cuphead, yeah. Okay. I mean, beyond that, though, I played nothing else.
The best game I played today was Flint Hook, I'd say. It's a game made by Tribute Games. They did Mercenary Kings, Wizorb. I think they're basically the team that worked on Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
And this one is more, I believe it's Paul Robinson is still doing some of the animation for it. He's a crazy pixel artist. And it's more of a simpler art style in this one, but it basically works. It's Flint Hook because you have a grappling hook, and you hook onto these little rings in the sky. And they really... It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It feels like a great timing.
It's just right.
Yeah, it's just right. Goldilocks come in. But to give you enough timing to choose the hooks to grab onto and fall off of. Towards the end of the demo, there were more enemies in it. They said it's going to be harder. They give you sort of a slow down time item too, but we'll see how that turns out in the harder levels. I'd rather just be using the grappling hook and use based off skill than having to rely on the slowdown item, but that one is really promising, and it's a 2D game, so it's probably not going to take too long to make, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I think I played more than you guys did. I was able to fit in 6 games, 2 of which we talked about because they were Cuphead and Shantae. So I'll do a quick play-by-play. I got to play Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age. Quick background, I hated FF12. I loathed that game, and I just never cared about revisiting it. I restarted it 3 times thinking, it's me. I'm going to enjoy this game, and about 10 hours in each time...
I did the same thing.
I'm like, I can't stick with it. Now, I won't go into the history of the Zodiac, the changes in this one. You can go look that up yourself. But playing it, I was really staggered by how great the visuals look. This is a true remaster.
Staggered sounds like a stats effect you have.
It's true, yeah. It actually is 1 in 13. But even more than 10 and 10 too. This is a true remastering. It looks fantastic, honestly. Even the character models look better, the environments look better, the texture work is great. I was really surprised.
Because it actually needed it.
It did need it, yeah.
Because the original visuals are so muddy.
Yeah.
And to get... It's like taking that like veneer that you get all that caked on and just wiping it away, and all of a sudden you have this wonderful clarity. It's like getting rid of cataracts.
And the sound.
How old are you?
I'm ancient.
And the sound quality is better too, because not only are they remastering the music, but one of the most notorious issues with the original FF12 was that all the voice work was heavily compressed. So it sounded really staticky, and that's gone as well. So. It's just a much better, audio-visual experience overall. And then, of course, this version is based on the International Zodiac job system version, which means basically, long story short, you can assign job classes to your characters now, instead of it being completely open-ended. So I think there are a lot of reasons that people who didn't like FF12 might want to go check this out. I know I'm on board. Like, I definitely, if there's ever a chance that I was going to like FF12 at all, this is it. So... I was impressed with the presentation a lot.
All right.
Nice. Now, what I also played at Square Enix that I am so hyped about, it hurts, is I Am Setsuna, which is a smaller RPG that they're doing. It's actually made by RPG Factory, and Square Enix is publishing it. And it has Chrono Trigger's battle system. It's basically Chrono Trigger in everything but name and story. It's like, it has the same battle system. Even like the main character's first tech, they're called techs as well. And they're called techs, and it's Cyclone. Chrono has Cyclone. That's his first tech, and this is the main character's first. I'm like, oh my god, it's a Chrono Trigger fan.
Do they have like the X-Strike?
X-Strike is in it.
No, I saw that in the trailer.
X-Strikes are in it. Yeah, it's actually called X-Strike. And, Cyclone, like, the battle system is exactly the same. It's based on your positioning, where the enemies are. Cyclone will hit everything in a certain radius. Like, you have 3 character parties. I can't believe we're getting a game that plays like Chrono Trigger in 2016.
That's awesome.
Well, that's the crazy thing, though, is as wildly popular as Chrono Trigger is, nobody's really copied that battle style.
It's true.
Not even Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
Now, Now, here's a question: does it follow the real time setting or the wait setting?
Both.
Okay.
I checked the options. Yeah.
Nice.
So
all right, that's straight up
active. Active and wait. And
it's only PS4, right?
Only PS4, as far as I know.
So you gotta borrow your friend's PS4 again.
Yeah. And even the world map was reminiscent of it's it's a 2D world map, kind of like the perspective. Even the world map presentation reminded me of that. And
does it involve time travel?
If it does, that would be amazing. I don't know. But and even like, again, walking around areas and going into houses, it all feels very much like Chrono Trigger.
Can you go back to 1997 when it was called Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, really, yeah.
I was going to say, does it have an awesome frog?
I hope all these things are true. Trust me. All these things I want to be true.
It has Dead Boy now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But, no, the only thing I would say is it is obviously a lower budget game. The presentation is, it's a little meh in some areas. You can tell that it's, it's a low budget game, for sure.
Hey, by 1996 standards, or by today's standards, Chrono Trigger was low budget, right?
Hey, yeah, and honestly, even if it is like that, if they remake Chrono Trigger to this standard in this game, I'd be super happy. So, it may not be a high budget game, but it has a ton of heart, it looks like to me, and it plays like Chrono Trigger.
It's awesome.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that game because I wasn't sure. I kept hearing about it, but I didn't know anything really about it. Yeah. Then we got that first English trailer, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And I sent it to you, and you were immediately on board.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I haven't got the chance to try it, but I am very interested.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome that the game gave you the same reaction that everyone had to the Wii's graphics.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Now, I didn't get to play it because, unbelievably, it's at least a 2-hour wait, I was told, to play any Kingdom Hearts. Well, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, basically. Right. I wanted to play it. I couldn't wait that long. I'm going to try to play it tomorrow. But I do want to mention that I did see a bit of Dream Drop Distance HD, which has now been revealed for the first time ever running in 60 frames. It looks amazing. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a last-gen game, a 3DS game.
No, it's not even last-gen. It's a 3DS
it's a 3DS game. Like, the high-res helps, but just seeing that gameplay in 60 frames, like, it really makes a difference for Kingdom Hearts. So, yeah, gotta hand it to him. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. The only issue is going to be because of the structure, because of the flow motion system. The environments are very wide open, which also makes them feel very empty, and that's going to be emphasized with the
Even
HD
more.
port. But the enemies and the characters and everything else, the colors really pop.
They really pop.
It looks good, and I was waiting in line for the 0.2 fragmentary passage.
Yeah.
The Aqua Story part. And the demo itself takes about 15 to 20 minutes. And I was waiting, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm like so close. I'm like 2 people away. Shantae's coming down, and all of a sudden, media people actually be able to work with Square came in. I looked at them like they're from Disney. I'm like, what the hell, from Disney?
Oh yeah. I sent Square. I have a few contacts at Square. I sent them an email saying, "Hey, let's make an appointment." Never heard back, which would have been nice this year because.
Yeah.
So I hope to have time to go play Kingdom Hearts tomorrow and actually properly play it. But the hardest part's going to be choosing. Do I want to play 0.2 Fragmentary Passage? Do I want to play Dream Drop Distance?
I want to play 0.2 because what I saw, it's what I like about it is that there's a lot of places that like you have to go to 5 different points, but you're actually exploring. The combat looks interesting. It looks like a lot of fun, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
We'll see.
I quickly played Ace Attorney: Spirit of Justice. Just played around with the demo. It's Ace Attorney. I do like the new seance mechanic is kind of cool. I didn't get to play the whole demo. I had to take off about halfway through, but the same great quality of writing is back.
I need to know like what kind of attorney is this guy where there's a seance mechanic?
Well, he's actually traveling. So Phoenix in this game, he's traveling to the eastern country of Kurain.
Okay.
The East Asian country of Kurain, and so basically they take place in seance trials where instead of a traditional defense attorney, they determine that they're the suspects are guilty through these seance rituals. And there's obviously a problem with that because these people are innocent, yet basically what it is this character is able to see the last moments of the victim's life and what they see through their eyes. So they're of course always kind of manipulated to where it looks like the perpetrator actually, or the suspect actually did it when they didn't. So it's Phoenix's
which actually kind of ties back into the original game.
Yeah, it kind of does.
There's some Minority Report stuff going on here.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
So it's Phoenix's job to kind of take on this foreign country's jury system and prove his client's innocence. So it's kind of a cool twist on the Ace Attorney formula.
Okay. And never take the lawyering seriously.
No, yeah, you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Nor the LA setting.
Yeah, or the what is it, the Japanifornia,
yeah.
I think they call it, which is it's apt. And then really the last game, it's not going to surprise anyone here, I got to play Hatsune Miku Project Diva X. That was a priority for me. I am so excited, and it, as you would expect, the jump to the PS4, the music videos look that much better. The gameplay does feel a lot smoother. I'm pretty sure it's the difference between running in 60 and 30 frames on the PS3. It just feels smoother, and there's this cool new rush mechanic where, for notes that Miku or another Vocaloid has to hold for a long time, it'll ask you to jam on a button, like triangle over and over again to get more points while she's holding that note. So it kind of adds a sense of kind of freneticness to it while still being timing based for everything else.
I see.
So you have to have your timing on point, but also when you have to do a rush note, get ready to jam on that, whatever button they want you to press.
You know what's sad? I only just now remembered that I did play Sonic Boom Fire and Ice.
You did play Sonic Boom.
Oh man!
Oh
I played a little bit of it.
Sonic fan, are you?
That's cold.
Things probably get heated.
That was a sick burn.
Ouch. The thing is, the levels I played, I mean, it really is Shattered Crystal, a better version of Shattered Crystal with the fire and ice mechanics. That's really it. I mean, it is improved. I mean, it has the gameplay that you'd expect. It plays fine. The issue, I mean, I have is it kind of takes me out of the game. They have to didn't get that naturally flowing switching between the fire and ice right away, because you tap left trigger for fire, right trigger for ice. And if you tap it twice, you turn it off. And that became a problem when I was doing the running section and I'd have the fire on already from before. And so another one's coming up and I see the symbol pop up on the screen and I naturally push it again and turn it off and splat.
Sonic Boom Fire and Ice is weird. Like, I feel like this is a definition of a Sonic game that doesn't need to exist. Like, nobody wants this game. And I feel bad for Sanzaru Games because they're doing their best and they're making these good games, but I don't think even kids really want another Sonic Boom game. Like, I just feel like Shattered Crystal was it just didn't do anything. Like, it just came out and that was it. Into an abyss, basically. And I feel like Fire and Ice, no one's asking for another Sonic Boom 3DS game, and they're going to make this game and it's going to be sent out to die, and it's like, it's a fine game, but what's the point of it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, I was pretty kind, probably, a lot of people probably think too kind to the two Sonic Boom games. And,
yeah, I thought you were too kind to Rise of Lyric, yeah.
And It's weird for me that I championed Shattered Crystal so much. That it was a okay game, and yet I'm getting that same feeling with Fire and Ice, where it's an okay game, but it almost like makes it less impressive.
Well, I think it's because it was fine for a one-time thing, but did you need another game?
Exactly.
It's essentially the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't change
Yeah.
that much, and I don't feel a difference in that demo.
Yeah.
I think that was the big thing. Beyond the Fire and Ice, I felt no
Yeah.
difference other than a few minor improvements here and there.
Well, and again, back then though, like back with Shattered Crystal and Rise of Lyric, there was still a good chunk of time off before we could expect the next Sonic Team mainline Sonic game. Now everyone knows that announcement's happening in a month.
That's right.
And so all eyes are on that. Like, I just feel like nobody cares about this. They're waiting for that Sonic Anniversary game announcement that people are super hyped about. So
It's the Xbox Scorpio problem. Why
Yeah.
get small when you got the Scorpio coming out?
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
But
Maybe
that's
it's
everything.
really big.
There you go. But yeah, that's everything I played.
Yeah, I did get a quick taste of. There's a new story mode in Project Diva, which is weird to me to think about a story mode in a Hatsune Miku game.
Yeah.
But I do like that all the missions you have are categorized into three main clouds, and that's the classic cloud, cool cloud, and cute cloud. So they categorize the Miku songs into these three overall, categories, and that you can choose which missions you want to go for. So that was the last thing I've got to play today.
Yeah, and also should be noted that there is no Persona 5 demo anywhere.
Are we sure of that? There isn't, right? Okay.
Unless you can just see it behind the scenes, but that's
Okay,
that's
then
you can access.
Not hidden in that big bag.
Yeah. No, the funny thing with Atlas has been that one of the prizes that you can get is that a Morgana the cat thing's a hat for it. But the way you get it is you have to play 4 different games at Atlas's booth and get like stamps. And so people are constantly going in with the lines the way they are. It's a 45-minute wait for each game.
I like how
to
they're
get that hat.
they're gamifying games now.
Exactly.
Yeah, they really
it's
are.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's one way to get people to play Miku.
And it's kind of funny to think about how, Persona has such power and such pull that they don't even need to have a playable demo, but yet people, like, they showed up in droves for the Shigenori Soejima signing. He's the artist of the characters. And they showed up in droves to get the Morgana hats, and they don't even have a demo on the floor, yet people are turning out in droves for anything Persona 5 related. So, I mean, good on Atlas for, they've really... It wasn't that long ago that Persona was considered niche, and even though it is now, it's like still, in its own way, it's kind of like a big deal now.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something, Tom?
Well, I was going to say good on them for marketing it so they don't even have to show off their game.
It's true. They really don't.
Yeah,
Good point.
it's
They
brilliant.
release a new trailer, but yeah, they don't have to show it off.
Yeah.
It works.
Well, anything else, guys, you want to bring up before I wrap it up here, or?
I'm good.
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we have 1 day left of E3.
I'm hoping to God I get to play Zelda. I really
I
want
know.
Oh,
to.
you got to pray to the goddess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So you're
Hylia.
Hylia, please. Please.
Well, we'll be seeing Ukulele at the least, so
Yep.
we'll see how that
We have,
is.
we have a few different appointments. Ukulele. I've got one with Natsume to check out that random Wild Arms revival.
Yeah.
Or not Wild. I'm sorry. Wild Guns.
Wild Guns.
Which was like this one-off Super Nintendo game that, like, late SNES game that no one ever thought would get a sequel. It was a good game, and suddenly they have a sequel.
Was
for
it
PS4.
the game where like you're shooting on a train or something?
Yeah, I
Or-
believe so.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this weird. It's almost like a Lethal Enforcer style where you're running back and forth, even though
Right.
you have actual control over your character.
Uh,
It's almost actually like I would say it's more like Sunset Riders in a way.
Okay.
Some of the boss fights where you're shooting into the screen.
Right, I see.
Yeah. So it's cool that this game's even getting a sequel at all. So
Yeah. Plus, we're checking out Namco.
so we're gonna check out Tekken and Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Yeah, we're getting a video presentation of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2,
Right.
so we'll see how that goes, and we'll get hands-on with a few things. So.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure what those are off the top of my head, but
We don't even know where Bandai Namco is yet.
No,
we
we
got to
gotta-
find out where they are.
I looked and
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
That's what's sad.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back to Sega and Atlas if I can, and try to play more Miku and some Sonic Boom. I want
Nice.
to try it out for myself too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm going to try Sea of Thieves if I can tomorrow, because that's actually playable.
that's
It is
actually that's the
playable,
thing
yeah.
is I need to spend a decent chunk of time at PlayStation and Xbox. I haven't even set foot. I haven't had time.
Today was the first
to
time
set
I
foot
actually.
in PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
booths. So I won't get to play Horizon. 'Cause that's like a 3-hour wait. But I want to go play a little more Cuphead.
Hey, that's pretty quick by Zelda standards.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I'll be able to get in maybe Forza Horizon 3. Some
Oh, there's no line for that. So.
good. So, and some other PlayStation stuff too. So,
Yeah.
Have a full day tomorrow, too.
All right, so stay tuned for more coverage about some of that. Probably not all of that, some of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we're about done here. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Game Explain. You can find links to them in the description below. It's a good way to keep up to date on everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on Game Explain for more on day 3 of E3 and other things gaming as well. Catch you later. Bye.